Hello and welcome to Titles Mean Nothing. It's the festive holiday special. Joining me as usual is Alex Thomas.
Hello folks.
Alex is of course my they bae of nearly 2 years now. It's almost our 2-year anniversary, isn't it?
Yes, depending on when we release this. If it's before the 18th, nearly. If it's after the 18th, we made it.
Yeah, that's incredible. We met about 5, 6, 7 minutes from here. That is if you don't count Tinder. And I swiped you on Tinder on a night I spent with a good friend of mine, Danielle Blackburn, who's also joining us for this podcast.
Hello.
Danielle, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. How are you?
Very good, thanks, yeah. Do you remember me swiping on Alex?
Not that particular moment, because I don't like to pry, but I do remember that night very well. It was a Queen night that only played, how many songs of Queen were there? Was it 2?
We heard 3.
One of them doesn't count because we decided to leave the Queen night that wasn't playing Queen, and as soon as we left, Bohemian Rhapsody played.
Classic, isn't it?
Classic. So yeah, I do remember that night.
Alex, what was the impression you got from me that evening when I told you I was going out to a Queen club night?
We'd spoken about Queen a little bit earlier on because I'd shared my my Spotify stuff onto Tinder. So I was like, oh, well, this is something we've got in common, which is good. But then, because you're going out in the evening, I was like, wow, this is someone who actually, does things and enjoys the city of Birmingham and all that stuff.
And how many club nights have I been to since?
0.
Exactly. So, the real purpose of this podcast was based on a conversation I had, was it last weekend with you, Danielle?
Yeah.
My favourite Christmas film... I'm not a Christmassy person. Would you agree with that, Alex?
Yes, although you're coming round to the idea, I think.
No, I'm not.
You're singing Christmas songs around the flat, all the time at the minute.
No, I'm not. I'm singing a Christmas song around the flat.
What Christmas song are you singing, Sasha?
It's White Christmas by the Drifters.
Oh, okay.
Because it's in Home Alone.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I...
So yeah, the purpose of this podcast is to talk about my favourite Christmas movie, Home Alone. I think one of the reasons I think Home Alone is one of my favourite Christmas movies is because it's set at Christmas, but I've never, especially as a child, I never really saw it as Christmas themed. I don't think it has to be Christmas themed. The plot is an 8-year-old troublemaker must protect his house from a pair of burglars when he's accidentally left home alone. And then the rest of the description is by his family during Christmas vacation. It could be any time, but it just happens to be the Christmas vacation. And that's what makes it apparently a Christmas film. Alex had never seen Home Alone when we met, and did I show you it, or did you just happen to watch it?
No, you showed me it. I'd always been aware of it, but I only ever caught snippets or seen little bits of it on, those talking head shows. Mm-hmm. I'd never sat down and watched it, and then we did, I think it was about this time last year.
And then we watched it again a couple of weeks ago, right?
Well, in between that, we also watched Home Alone 2. But yeah, the original, the original we watched again weekend before last, I think.
And what was your verdict? Was it pretty positive? Am I right?
Yeah. I enjoy it a lot. It's warm, it's fun, it's cozy. I like John Williams' music, and I like, what's the name of the director?
Chris Columbus.
Yeah, I like Chris Columbus's feel to things.
It's like watching the first 2 Harry Potter films without the transphobia.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's emotionally starting to become a bit of a a supplement to that.
So everyone I've met pretty much loves Home Alone. My family love Home Alone. I love Home Alone. You love Home Alone. Danielle does not love Home Alone.
No, I don't. Everyone was banging on about it, so I thought, well, let's try Home Alone. And I just found it really unbelievable and unrealistic. So, number one, you just wouldn't forget your kid. You just wouldn't. You'd check all of their faces, not their headwear. he wouldn't know when to pause a film, surely, because you don't know what the other person on the other side of the door is going to say. So that was unbelievable to me. There was just a lot of effort for him to mimic having a party. The things that he did would have just killed the robbers. They wouldn't have inconvenienced them. They would have killed them.
I think everyone agrees they would have actually killed the robbers. I think there was some like Mythbusters-esque kind of look into that. But yeah, I mean, I take that with a pinch of salt because it's funny.
It's not.
What else, Danielle?
The aftershave wouldn't have hurt him. That joke got old quick because he didn't shave, so it wouldn't have hurt him, surely. Let me think of like some good things that I thought about it. I'm really clutching at straws here. So the old man with his son and his granddaughter at the end, that made me cry. That made me cry. That was a tiny glowworm in a sewage of a film. And to be honest, Macaulay Culkin was a pretty good child actor. But to be fair, I'd do hard drugs too if I were associated with these films.
Oh, he's clean now. He's clean.
Oh, good.
I think a lot of people like now assume he's like in a state he was like maybe 10 years ago, but he's clean. He's got a podcast. He's changed his middle name to Macaulay Culkin.
Sorry, he's changed his middle name to Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, he auctioned off his middle name as like a charity thing, so his name is now Macaulay Culkin.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. He's Macaulay Culkin.
Gee, no. Oh, gosh. I mean, I don't know why I watched Home Alone 2 afterwards. I thought it couldn't get any worse. It did. So I actually don't class Home Alone 2 as a film. I don't accept it as a film. It's that bad.
It's only as bad as the first one, I think.
It's not. It didn't even have any glowworms like it did in the first one.
Not even the two little turtle doves.
Oh, no. No, that man annoyed me, actually. Duncan the Toy Man rewarding a rich family rather than giving it to sick kids. It's like, it annoys me that the middle-class white family don't even get a wrist slap. They just get loads of bloody toys. Oh, it's just they don't learn. The parents didn't learn. The mum is still the worst mum in the whole world. The beads on the pavement are dangerous to passers-by. He didn't just do that for the robbers. That could have really hurt people.
What did you think of the president's cameo?
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks.
Oh, actually, that was a glowworm, because I think, even though I don't like Donald Trump, I think he was quite hot when he was younger.
Pardon? Hot?
Yeah, I thought Donald Trump was quite hot when he was younger. But I thought a lot of people were hot when they were younger, like David Attenborough and Mussolini.
You've told me about some questionable hot people, CGI people and puppet people in the past, I think, so...
CGI people?
Yeah.
Oh, the orcs.
The orcs in Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, and puppet people.
I don't know. What about the ones in the time machine?
They're not puppets. They're people in costumes. But I'm thinking of... I do fancy Archer from Small Soldiers. That's a Christmas film.
Let me just type that in. For God's sake, Daniel. Well, to be fair, he is comparable with Donald Trump, so...
Yeah.
So, can I ask you a question then that's been on my mind?
Uh-huh.
What's the most realistic Christmas film you've seen? Are they generally realistic?
Well, let me answer this in two parts. No, but the suspension of disbelief is there. I believe in the world. I believe in the world, and this is the world that we live in currently. There's no magical beings or anything, and because it's set in the world that we know, it's harder for me to believe what actually happens because there are no other laws of physics going on.
There's no Santa, there's no elves and things. Yeah, okay.
I mean, with Santa, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, he did this, but I'll blame it on the magic. I don't understand it, but I'll believe it. Whereas this, there's no magic going on. It's just pain. And, like, if someone hits you with a brick from a height, you will die. You're not just going to have a little bruise.
I feel like in the cold light of day you make some really valid points, but I don't know what it is, but I do get that suspension of reality feeling from it, albeit there are like very real elements. You know, the people at the shop ground it. You know, when he goes to get the toothbrush, people at the airports declining to help. But I quite like it because there's almost an irony on it, because there is almost, for me anyway, a slightly otherworldly, absurdist feeling to most of it, and then it's only those scenes where you're around a lot of other people that it's like, oh, actually, like, this is part of the real world.
I think it does help having seen it as a kid for me, because there's an element of like, oh, how would I cope in this situation? You'd like to think you'd be quite cool like Kevin and manage to cope with it. You know, as a kid, I would have just gone to pieces, wouldn't I? And cry and gone to the neighbours. One of the things I did as a kid was, if I wanted to watch Home Alone, I'd sometimes just fast forward past the first, like, 45 minutes, hour, and just watch the traps. Because I liked the traps. You know, the idea of, like, as a kid being able to, like, booby trap my own house in case of burglars was really appealing. The idea that if someone broke into my house, I could deal with it too was a really interesting thing.
But that'd take him some time to do, wouldn't it? I mean, yeah, he gets his crayons out and does his little plans.
Oh, yeah, that would have taken like half an
Oh,
hour.
that would have taken ages to do, though. Like, all of the things, and how would he reach to put the string up and then the things come down? It reminds me of Mousetrap. Do you know when you spent ages
Yes.
setting up Mousetrap, only for a little, oh, at the end? And I don't think his parents really helped either, did they?
What, by leaving him at home? That doesn't help.
No.
Generally.
I mean, I think they could have tried harder. So, like, in the second one, for example, why not check the credit card before reporting it stolen? Because, you know, if he is okay on his own, like, he probably knows how to use a credit card. And why didn't they try harder to get back to him? Why didn't they try harder to call neighbours? That kind of thing. It's just, I think, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I think that they wanted to kill him. I think that they left him on purpose.
There are YouTube videos where they've been edited in such a way that they're like a different genre. So, you know, you were saying about like the injuries would actually kill you and stuff, where it's, you know, you actually see kind of blood spurting out at certain points, things like that. Maybe you'd appreciate a more gritty realism version.
Yeah, there's the what they call the Corridor Crew did one where, like, Kevin is sort of creates like a horror house that he's like, he puts on Airbnb, and the burglars are just going to stay at this Airbnb, but instead it's like, you know, like something from Saw. Have you seen Saw, Danielle? I've not
Yes.
seen it.
I like Saw.
There's a theory that Kevin grows up to become Jigsaw.
You know what? That wouldn't surprise me. And I think I'd
Yeah.
like a horror version of Home Alone way more. Like, give me a gritty kitchen sink drama of Home Alone over this pile of crap any day, and I would watch it.
There's some great negative reviews on IMDb.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see how you can get any enjoyment out of this thing unless you are totally sadistic and have no conscience.
I wrote them all.
What about the actors? Because I think Joe Pesci is probably the most well-known actor.
Is that a gold tooth guy?
Yeah, he's quite known for like mob movies, you know, and he's generally always playing a gangster.
But I don't know why they focus on him and that house. There are loads of really big houses on that road. And he even said to his partner at the start of the film, oh, look, their timer's on now. Their timer's on now. Focus on those houses without annoying little kids.
Well, they robbed the other ones, didn't they?
Oh, did they? Okay, forget that one then.
There's a very brief scene where they're like finishing ransacking one house and they put all the taps on. And he's like, oh, why do you always do that? And it's, oh, it's my signature, my calling card.
That's awful for the environment, though, isn't it? You could have
I don't
done
think they care about the environment.
But they should have done something more environmentally friendly than, you know...
The Green Bandits.
Yeah, the Green Bandits. So what they could have done, instead of just flooding the house, was just plant loads of trees in there. That would be harder to sort, and it would be nicer for the environment in the meantime.
Right. Well, you do that. So the second film, it's just kind of a retread of the first, but I love Tim Curry.
Tim Curry was quite good in it, actually.
I love you.
Oh no, actually, that reminds me of when... is it like get down on your knees? And then They all have to like
Yeah.
get down on their knees, and that was silly. That was stupid because she wouldn't do that.
If you believe someone was in there with a gun, you might, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But the shower scene made me groan audibly. That was awful.
Do you know what? I feel like you're pulling it apart and I'm kind of agreeing with you, but and I wasn't expecting to come around to your opinion.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but I still enjoy it. There are films that you can find stupid and still enjoy, I think. Even bad films.
I mean, my first thing that comes to mind is The Room, but obviously that's like... that's one of those things where it's so bad it's a cult interest. Whereas I wouldn't put Home Alone in that category. I think Home Alone has its atmosphere to it. That's what saves it. Whereas The Room doesn't have anything like that. It's just bad.
Another film that I've watched recently that's a Christmas film that I think is stupid but I love is Jingle All the Way. You know, at the end where he's just got a see-through orange visor and his son and his wife don't know it's him. And then it's just as soon as he takes the visor off, he's like, "Wow, Dad." And he's like, "Yes, Jamie." And she's like, "Oh, Howard."
I saw that for the first time maybe a couple of years ago with Charlotte and Guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind watching that one again, actually. It's a Schwarzenegger film.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, I think most Christmas films generally are very silly.
It's rated 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. Crikey.
I mean, that's an unrealistic Christmas film set in the real world.
Unpopular opinion, but I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger is a good actor. I think he's all right in the
No,
Terminator.
he's not.
I think he's a very convincing artificial intelligence, but not an all-American guy.
I don't think anyone thinks he's a good actor.
Okay.
But he's just him, isn't he? He's just himself. He's always him.
Yeah.
The other thing that begs a question is, do you know how many sequels there are to the original Home Alone?
Is it like 4 or 5?
There are 4 sequels.
Is Macaulay in all of them?
So, nope, he's only in 1 and 2.
Well, who are these other kids?
So Home Alone 3 was the only one, the only sequel to be produced by John Hughes, who who'd produced the first 2, and Macaulay Culkin wasn't in it. None of the family were. And it's about this 8-year-old child called Alex who defends his home from a dangerous band of criminals who work for a North Korean terrorist organization.
Oh, come on.
So yeah, instead of his parents leaving him on holiday, he's like ill, and they're like, let's just leave him alone in the house.
Smart.
I remember when I was a kid, like, enjoying it, but the idea of watching it again is not appealing to me.
It seems to have gone too far. It's not some innocent robbers anymore. It's terrorists, and that's even more
Did you just say
unrealistic.
innocent robbers?
Well.
You can tell you're from Hull.
No, it's not like meager robbers, I mean. Not innocent. They're not innocent. But I would argue that Macaulay Culkin's character, what's his real name in this?
Kevin.
I would
Yeah.
say Kevin is more at fault than the robbers. Shoot me.
Why?
I just think he is. I think he goes too far, maiming them, injuring them, wanting to kill them. I don't think they want to kill him. They just want his material goods.
Well, they want to kill him in the second one.
Yeah, but they've been to jail for what they've done, and they've repented, and they've come out
No, they're not.
reformed gentlemen.
No, they haven't. They break out of prison.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I feel like you're looking at these two with a pair of rose-tinted glasses.
I am. I think
What the heck?
Kevin has not really. Yeah, you can say that he was defending his house, but you can defend your house too far, can't you? If someone tries to steal your Ring doorbell, you don't machete them down. And I think that's the perfect analogy for this.
So the next one is Home Alone 4. That was made about, 5 years later, I want to say. Yeah, 5 years later. And it's a straight-to-TV, made for television, straight-to-DVD film. Nothing to do with any of the original actors. Different music, different director, different producer. It's a direct sequel to Home Alone 2. The boy is Kevin again. He's recast. The parents are recast. And basically, the robbers in this film are trying to kidnap a prince who is... I don't know. I can't even remember the bloody plot line. It's so bloody vague.
So we've gone from robbers to terrorists to Prince.
Yeah.
If there's another Home Alone, who
You
were
wait
the
for it.
aliens? Probably.
So, imagine making like a B movie sequel to such a well-known film franchise. It was shot in South Africa and is generally considered the worst Home Alone ever. And I think it was a mistake trying to recast Kevin with this like expressionless child actor. You can't recast Macaulay Culkin. He's so iconic.
No, he's really good.
Yeah. And then there was a sequel to Home Alone 4, and I haven't seen the fifth one. It's called Home Alone: The Holiday Heist. Yeah, it was made in 2012, and it does not have Kevin and his family
Do
in
they
it.
count as Home Alones though? If something is called Home Alone, is that part of the franchise automatically? Because these just don't seem to fit.
I guess the theme is the same, right?
I've only seen the first two, and I only intend to see the first two because the thought of the others just made me shudder a bit.
And Disney are currently working on a reboot of Home Alone.
No. I'm sick of Disney doing reboots of stuff. I'm just sick of it so much.
Yeah. Well, me and Alex were saying if they were to do another Home Alone, it should be Macaulay Culkin again.
As the
now.
dad.
Yeah, like he teaches his kids how to, I don't know, be prepared. They have a neighbourhood watch or something.
What, like he's the Bear Grylls of the neighbourhood?
Oh, hang on. According to this, Macaulay Culkin is going to be in it.
Oh, is he?
Oh.
I bet it's,
Oh, shit.
I bet it's just a cameo though, right?
Probably.
Let me see. Macaulay Culkin's going to be paid over $2.5 million to appear in Home Alone reboot.
I bet it's going to be like the new Pigeon Lady, but like the Pigeon Man.
Did you like the Pigeon Lady? I felt like you would have liked her.
Why?
Don't you think she looked like Piers Morgan?
A little bit. I imagine that she smells of fish and piss, and I and I just did not believe the birdseed bit one bit. And she just scatters birdseed on him, and like pigeons fly at him. Oh, I was done at that point. I was done. Like, I don't want your turtle doves. I want a hot drink. That's what I'd have said if I was there. I'd have sold it. Oh yeah, she does look like Piers Morgan. Like Piers Morgan, like in a wig almost. They look almost identical. Awesome.
What I don't understand with the old man in the first one is why he always like glared at Kevin instead of being like, "Oh, hi," you know.
Maybe it's like, why are these kids screaming at me through the window? That's what
He's glaring at them.
Well, to be honest, he might just have resting bitch face like I do. And it's not his fault.
Do you have resting bitch face?
Oh, I do. I really do. It's because my lips are quite big and they're quite heavy and they just weigh my face down. So that's why
You've
I look
got
like
heavy lips.
You know, I just look like I'm scowling.
Right. I've never noticed that about you.
Oh, really? Maybe it's because you always make me laugh.
I think one of the things I would say about Chris Columbus as a director is he's very safe, isn't he, as a director?
Is he the E.T. guy?
Steven Spielberg directed E.T., but they're kind of similar in tone, aren't they? I sometimes mix them up. I think because they both work with John Williams. But Chris Columbus is a safe pair of hands as a director. Give him a movie to do and he won't do anything dramatic with it, but he'll just play it safe, do it quite straightforward. That's why he was chosen. He was the only American in the production team on the first two Harry Potter films. And I read an article the other day that said Chris Columbus wanted to return for the last two. And that would have been bizarre because the films and the series is so dark.
Yeah.
That he couldn't have done it. No way could he have done that. Not that we're into Harry Potter at the moment because we just do not, we've kind of frozen, haven't we?
Yeah, it's difficult because it is like tainted now, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Columbus being a safe pair of hands isn't always a bad thing because things like Christmas movies are what a safe pair of hands is for. You don't want a dramatic out there Christmas movie. I mean, I'd be quite happy watching one, but you think he does Christmas quite well, don't you, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially combined with John Williams, right?
Yeah, it's like a perfect combination for that. I don't know, they just get... If I think of Christmas, I think of how they have their films, how they do the sets, how they have the costumes, everything like that. It's all spot on.
What's your favourite Christmas film, both of you?
I'm sorry, I think it's probably Home Alone.
Oh, Get Out. Really?
But I don't love Christmas, like I say, and the
No.
fact that it doesn't have to be a Christmas film, in my opinion, I think that would revitalize Home Alone if they said it not at Christmas. But I don't think it needs to be a Christmas film, and that's probably why it works for me.
Okay.
You watched one Christmas film for the first time last weekend.
Oh, I did.
And I think you were pleasantly surprised.
I feel like I would probably not watch it again, but I watched Love Actually.
Oh, really? Oh, that's problematic.
It is.
That could be a
It's
whole...
problematic. Yeah, I thought it was problematic. I thought it was super.
Oh, it's weird, isn't it? In bits.
Let's talk it. Let's talk Love Actually.
Well, where do I begin? Like Colin Firth's character, for example, I used to think when I was younger that was my favourite story in it. When he learns, what was it, Portuguese? And he's like, oh, Benita Aurelia.
Portuguese,
please,
yeah.
Please marry me. I'm so glad she was into it, because it would have been bloody creepy if she wasn't. She's never even spoke to the guy.
With that storyline, I think when you're younger, there is that naivety to be like, oh, you know, they don't speak the same language, but they are on the same page, blah, blah, blah. But then, yeah, you watch it again sort of a few years later and you think, actually, like, yeah, it's just so uncomfortable, really.
Yeah, I think that the one of the weirdest ones for me was that guy who was filming the wedding, and
Yes.
and she seems to find it charming that he he just like did loads of close-ups of her face, and
It's really so voyeuristic.
If I was her, I'd be like to my husband, look, you're like your best friend's creeping on me. I think you ought to have a word with him. Maybe never see him again. Look at what he did.
It's
disgraceful.
him on the street. And also, what if her husband opened the door to him? Like, he had placards. How was he going to explain that away? Oh, maybe he just knew that she always answered the door.
Maybe he had like something else on the other side. Maybe he had something else on the other side that's like, right, mate, fancy a beer?
Oh, yeah.
And then go on. I thought the most pure one was the Prime Minister.
Really?
Yeah, that was the best one in the whole thing.
I didn't like how they fat-shamed her all the time.
It's really weird as well. They fat-shamed her and she's not even big.
Yeah, he said something to her at the end where she runs up to him and he carries her and he's like, oh, God, you've put on weight. Oh, God, you're heavy. And it's like, oh, can you not? It's just annoying.
What was the most pure one then?
What about the body double people?
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
Oh, yes. I like those ones. They're not really problematic at all.
No, I suppose not. I thought the kid was ridiculous.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Oh, when he runs through the airport. I bet terrorists were watching thinking, oh, wow, England's a good place to go in an airport. You can just take a kid in there and no one stops you. They just watch telly. Awful.
Yeah. They didn't interview him because he was white, probably.
Oh, of course, yeah.
This is 2 years after 9/11 as well.
Stupid. It's like they haven't learned. And also, like, he hasn't met the love of his life at 11, has he? No, he hasn't.
No.
Oh, it's not worth jail for, is it?
No. I was a bit surprised the Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson storyline wasn't resolved.
She comes off so, like, the worst. She just is living with a miserable marriage. That's her ending.
But it's realistic.
I suppose.
No, I don't think. I think they broke up. I think they're separated and they're just, like, coming back together for Christmas for the kids. I think Emma knows her worth. Oh, do you know what the most heartbreaking one is for me?
Laura Linney's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that makes me cry, that one.
Do you know what? It's kind of a depressing movie, really, isn't it? When you really think about it.
They should rename it Depressing, actually. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I would have turned my phone off if the guy I had a crush on in the office, you know, finally liked me and stuff, even if it was just for 20 minutes. I don't think
What,
she,
then you
In
find
and out.
I don't think she should live her life through her brother. Be there for her brother, yeah, but I don't think she should be constantly at his beck and call.
the thing I think is Richard Curtis is, apart from Mr. Bean, he's a pretty shit writer, isn't he? He's responsible for, he did Yesterday last year, that Beatles film, which I thought was atrocious. He is responsible for the second Mamma Mia. I don't know if he did the first. Bridget Jones, he's written some of them. The best things he's done are Blackadder and Mr. Bean.
Oh, I also think About Time was very good.
Yeah, you like About Time and The Boat That Rocked.
About Time came out 7 years ago. I've not seen it since.
Oh, yeah, but it's funny as well because it's about time. And it's also like someone saying about time. It's really clever. Oh, sorry, my grandfather clock's going. 1 second.
It's because it's about time.
It's about time, and it's also a saying. It's like, oh, about time you've come.
but your clock's going, so it's about time.
Oh, that's a good one, Sasha. That makes the cut. Bloody hell.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever heard you laugh like that. My
Oh,
goodness.
it's when you reach absolute peak. I cackle. Oh my god, yeah. So even I think About Time is the cleverest film title because you can look into it so much and it means so many different things.
It was depressing though.
Yeah, it's sad, but you know.
It's not, it's nice. When he saves his sister.
Have you seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral?
Yes.
I didn't like that.
You didn't? I thought it was
No.
alright, but I don't like Andy McDowell's character. I don't
No.
like her. She's
What
annoying.
about? Did you see the episode of Doctor Who he wrote?
No.
He wrote one about Vincent van Gogh.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think Alex is one of the few episodes Alex has seen. You took issues with his ear, didn't you?
Yeah, well, the timeline was all out.
He should not have had his ear.
Well, I mean, Van Gogh didn't cut the whole of his ear off, just like a chunk of it. But he'd done it before the time period where this episode was supposed to have been set. And they
disgrace.
talk about his mental health, so it's
Yeah.
quite an important factor.
Yeah, it makes me emotional, that one.
I haven't seen that.
It's on iPlayer. Season
Okay.
5, episode something. I don't know. I don't think I've seen Notting Hill. The thing is, they kind of blend into one.
He did The Boat That Rocked, and you like that.
It was all right. I can't really remember it to feel
I
like
don't-
I would want to watch it again.
I don't think I've seen Notting Hill. Is that the one with Smiley Woman in? What's her name?
Julia Roberts?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So I think Richard Curtis, he's got his tropes, hasn't he? Rowan Atkinson, Hugh Grant, Bill Nye tends to be in a lot of his things. But Danielle, have you seen Harry Enfield playing Bill Nye playing Hugh Grant in a Richard Curtis film?
No.
Bill Nye plays Hugh Grant in Richard Curtis's new movie, I Love You.
So, you should probably... And I should probably... And then maybe, perhaps, I mean, only if you wanted to.
I'd love that.
Gosh. Oh. Crikey. Oh. Tits. Gosh. Wow. Well, phew, what a clot.
Oh, it's my fault. I should have told you about the gutter of doom. You're soaking.
Yes, but in the morning I'll be dry and you'll still be beautiful.
Is that like the perfect send-up of Richard Curtis?
A little bit, yeah. So is Bill Nye playing Hugh Grant?
Harry Anfield is playing Bill Nye, who plays Hugh Grant.
Okay, that's funny, yeah.
I think that's so well done. You know, it is totally Bill Nye, but it's also Hugh Grant.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway, what do you think the takeaway from this podcast is?
Always have a suspension of disbelief when you're watching Christmas films, and don't look into them too much or you'll go mad.
It's pretty sound. I'm in agreement with that. Just be willing for that couple of hours to switch your brain off a little bit.
If you're going to watch a film that's like got Santa in it, then that's obviously not going to be a realistic film unless you're under 8, in which case it's totally real, kids. And if you are under 8, why are you listening to this?
Yeah, probably not they're probably not our demographic.
But if it's got ghosts in it, it might be real, like Christmas Carol.
Why?
Because I believe in ghosts. So
Right,
I find ghosty things a lot more believable. That's why my favourite Christmas film is Jim
Casper.
Carrey's A Christmas Carol. Because I just believe that could happen to me.
I don't think Jim Carrey wrote that. I thought it was Charles Dickens.
Yeah, but he's Scrooge in it, and it's a really good animation. I really like that one.
That's interesting. I keep saying to Sasha we should watch the Muppets Christmas Carol. Would you rate the Jim Carrey one above that?
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. Yeah, the Jim Carrey one is the creme de la creme of Christmas film. There are some things that are always on telly as well around Christmas, but they're not Christmassy themed. I wonder where that started. So, like Wallace and Gromit.
Oh yeah, I suppose. I guess
yeah.
it's because the kids are home, so they need something to pacify them.
To say I don't like things that are not realistic, I don't know why I like Wallace and Gromit. I mean, who builds a rocket ship and goes to the moon because it's made of cheese? I somehow
Northerners.
believe that. Oh yeah, that's true. And maybe because it's northern, maybe I let it off because it's northern. But American tomfoolery, that's unrealistic. Nah.
There used to be, when I was a kid, the Beatles' Yellow Submarine used to be on every Christmas or Boxing Day.
Really?
See, I never remember having seen Yellow Submarine on TV. Not even bits of it.
I used to look through the TV schedules every year to see if it was on.
Mm.
Have you seen that, Danielle? I feel like you have.
No, I don't think so.
Ah, okay. It's a cartoon, tripped out cartoon.
Oh, I think I've seen stills of it, but I haven't actually seen it. Oh, you know what else is on? The Snowman.
God, I don't know why, because that can't possibly be anything to do with Christmas.
Oh yeah, that is associated with Christmas.
Yeah, that's depressing, isn't it?
No, it gives kids a nice outlook on death and the circle of life, I think. It's nice. Wholesome content.
You can't tell me that the Walking in the Air, the song, isn't depressing.
Huh? No, it's uplifting. I would have that on as my alarm if I could.
It's got so many minor chords in. It's got more minor chords than major chords, which is what gives it an overall sense of being depressing.
Well, I don't know music theory, but I like the Snowman.
Hang on. So it goes like, we're walking in the air. See that is a minor chord, right? If you play the same chord major, it's happy. See, that's a happy chord. That's a sad chord.
I don't think it's sad though. The way Aled Jones sings it is just magical. Because
You know his name?
Yeah,
Of course, he's very famous.
he's very famous. Sasha, where have you been living under a rock?
We're walking in the air. I'm not going to play it.
Right, if a snowman, like, just picture yourself, a snowman has come alive and he said, come up here and I'll show you your neighbourhood, and you're like, all right then.
So you go off with a strange man, which is exactly what your parents tell you not to do.
Right, you're cold, you don't know when you're going to fall, you don't know if you're dreaming, whether, anything bad's going to happen, whether a plane's going to chop your head off. You're going to be feeling a bit anxious, you're not going to be feeling happy, you're going to be feeling awe, amazement, and a bit scared. So I think those depressing chords do work in that context. We're walking in the air. I can't sing, but it's like, I'm about to fall, but I'm not. but the snowman's got my hand, and he will melt soon.
Are those the lyrics? Because I don't recognise
No,
those.
it's not. I've just made them up.
The Snowman is such an interesting film, isn't it? Because was it a staple of your childhood at Christmas?
It was always on, yeah.
I only watched it for the first time a couple of years ago, so I think watching it with a mature brain gives you a better sense of belonging to Christmas. I don't know how that sentence came out of my mouth, but it did. Like I have seen so many philosophical, things come out of the Snowman that I probably wouldn't have got as a child.
I feel like I don't want to watch it because I feel like it would upset me.
Oh no, it doesn't.
I don't know. I've seen it. Obviously, I've seen it a long time ago.
It's not as if that snowman lived forever, it'd be like that Jack Frost film, where he's carting a blooming snowman around Aldi, and like in the snowman's face, he's like talking to him, and the snowman's his dad. I'd say that's well worth.
Whoa. Back up a bit. What are you on about?
This is a film, but explaining it to someone who's not seen it just sounds absolutely mad.
What's Aldi?
Well, not Aldi, but a supermarket. So, like basic premises of Jack Frost. A dad dies in a car crash, and he comes back as a snowman for his son, and he's like, "Hey, I'm your dad." And he's like, "Oh, hi,
So
Dad."
stupid.
And they like go shopping, and he like brings his snowman shopping, his dad, and Mark Addy's in it. Mark Addy of the Time Machine, he's in it, and it's a delight. But I believe it because it's magic.
That's more believable than Home Alone for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's so scary when you're younger watching it. Oh God.
Here's a hypothetical film for you then. Okay, this is a film written by Richard Curtis.
Right.
It's a reboot of Home Alone. Okay, so a boy has a single father, played by Hugh Grant, and the father dies and comes back as a snowman. Still played by Hugh Grant, and some burglars, one played by Bill Nighy, the other by Laura Linney, want to break into his house, and
Right.
and he's played by the little kid, Thomas Sangster from Love Actually, but he's still a kid. This little boy is, and he hatches a plan against the burglars, but because the dad's a snowman, it's realistic.
Well, that would all depend on whether the snowman is magic, which he probably is because
If you
he's
die
an
and come
alive
back as a snowman, you're fucking magic.
Okay, if the snowman helps him hatch his plans and reach them to fruition, then yes, I would believe it, because the snowman would make sure that his magic would hurt the burglars in such a way that they would not die, and that is why I would believe that film and not
Hang
Home
on.
Alone.
That's why Home Alone's a Christmassy film, because the burglars don't die because it's Christmas magic.
It's not Christmas magic that saves the burglars.
How do you know?
Nah, it doesn't tell you. The only way I would believe Home Alone is if the creepy old man that doesn't turn out to be creepy is actually like Father Christmas or like magical, because he would help him. Because how would he know? How would he know that Macaulay Culkin was in the watery house to save him?
Because he saw him go in?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I still don't believe it then. It's still a crock of shit. Sorry. I don't know whether I was allowed to
You've
swear.
ruined Christmas?
I've ruined Christmas.
No,
That's
you
it
haven't.
now. Pack the tree up.
COVID's ruined Christmas. What are your
Yeah.
Christmas plans, Danielle?
My Christmas plans.
Yeah.
I'm staying here for Christmas Day, and we're seeing Connor's mum on the evening, and then Boxing Day we're going to Hull.
I'm going to join my parents for Christmas Day, and Alex is...
I'm going to see my family. So my sisters and my mom. And then the third household will be my grandparents.
I feel like we just don't feel the need to spend Christmas together when we haven't seen our families. Even though we're moved in together now, and Alex has put the Christmas tree up, haven't you? And
Yeah.
there's so much we could talk about, but I think we might have to end it there.
Yeah. Oh, it's
So-
been so fun.
What do you take away from the episode?
Some people like Christmas films that you don't like, and that's fine.
Yeah. And some people like Home Alone, and then there's you.
And then there's me. But I'd be interested to hear from people who also don't like Home Alone, because I reckon there are people like me out there, but they're just so scared to, air their opinion to people. But I want to be the beacon of hope for those.
Well, I think the one thing I take away from this is that it's weird to have, for me personally, I think it's weird to have seasonal films and seasonal songs. Suddenly it becomes okay to enjoy Christmas songs. Suddenly it becomes okay to enjoy Christmas movies. I broke that by watching Home Alone 2 in June, and it was fine. I guess all that's left to say is Happy Christmas from me, Sasha Swift.
And myself, Alex Thomas.
And myself, Danielle.